Boom, I'm in the room. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Everyday Conversations Regarding Mental Health. Plug. I'm plugging for tomorrow night. And the reason I'm doing that is the person I had coming on unfortunately had to pull out or postpone it to another time. But I'm coming to you live from the old Hill Manor. Because there's nothing on the telly, you might as well watch me and join in the conversation. Now, I'm using my new kit. So I'll just put it out there. I'm using my new kit. So I've got this teleprompter, and the reason I'm using that is because I can look straight into the camera. I can see what's going on, sort of, and we can. And it's more personable. I think it works out a little bit more personable. Now, I've changed the view. You might have noticed I've changed the view. You can also see me in this one here. So I've got two views. So there's the old teleprompter set up with the main camera, and this is the one set up here. So I'm going out in 440, which hopefully you're seeing a little bit of difference. Hopefully you're seeing something nice. So just let me know where you're watching from. The idea behind the everyday conversations, or let's just have a quick Tuesday, I do a live awesome quiz. Last night we had a great quiz. You can go back to the quizzes. You do know you can go back to the quizzes and you can do them, and all you need to do is just add your scores up and then pop that in the chat box and we can see it. So people will get notified that you've had a go at the quiz. Last night's was a Valentine's special, everything to do around the 14th of February. Today we're on the 15th of February. Tomorrow's the 16th of February and I'm doing the live show tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock. So be sure to set your reminder and to come and join in the conversation. It's an important message that we're trying to put out, everyday conversations regarding mental health. And we try and cover all different topics. We've covered bereavement, suicide, death, depression, anxiety, addictions. They're all lumped into that umbrella of mental health. And it's important that we bring the conversation out into the open to make people feel comfortable talking about the problems with mental health. I don't know whether it's always been there. It's always been there. You go back to kind of the First World War. What was PTSD back then, or what was shell shock, was actually PTSD. Only it wasn't recognised as that. Lots of childhood trauma is stemmed from mental health issues later in life. We see a lot of it, and we should be able to talk about it. It's like talking about death. It shouldn't be a taboo subject. It should be a normal subject that we can talk about, because everybody's got that same ticket. Everybody will one day pass to the other side. Now it depends on how you look at the other side. Me, I feel I'm going to be sort of a Buddhist and come back. But when I come back, I'm coming back as a cat. See the life that my cat lives. He lives the life of Riley, he does. However, he's got Hudson. Hudson is being a little bit of a pest at the moment. He's getting on for about 9 months old and he's been a right little pickle. He jumps at him and he chases him. It's funny. Archie comes wandering in with Hudson stuck up his bum. He's got his nose stuck up his bum. It's not a pretty sight. It's not funny and it's not clever. However, it's quite funny. And Artie's he doesn't know what to do. He's tried everything. He's tried giving them a clump and knocking them across the room. He doesn't learn. That's the trouble with Hudson. He's a bright dog, but he doesn't learn too quickly. And he does like to run. God, doesn't he like? We took him down the beach today, right? Let him off the lead. He's having a whale of a time. Chasing seagulls. He ain't going to catch them. But he tears after him. He sees it. Oh, and the bugger won't come back until he's ready to come back. I took him out yesterday round the woods, Alverstoke. God, blimey. He was all over the place. I mean, there's thick undergrowth down through there, and he was in amongst that. He got chasing ducks. There's stagnant ponds and all that down there, and he's chasing the ducks. He come back stinking. So I've had to put him in the douche. Hose him off. Little sod he is. But I mean, that's the joys of having cats and dogs. But they're great for helping out with the mental stuff, because then undying love, isn't it? Well, with Artie the ship's cat, it's on these terms, but he can be affectionate, but when he wants to. Whereas Hudson is full on all the time. So a dog's different, isn't it? So so we do the quiz on a Tuesday. We're trying to take mental health and take the stigma out of it. For far too long, it's been sort of, don't talk about it, brush it under the carpet, never mind, don't say anything. But we need to. And that's one of the great therapies, is talking about it. So if you are struggling, if you are having thoughts of an unhelpful nature to your mental health and well-being, if you're thinking about suicide, don't. There's somebody out there that will listen. There's always somebody that will give you both of these and one of them. And when you get that, you can unload, you can discuss it, you can talk about it. And it should be an easy conversation to have. Really, really is. If you're struggling, if you're finding life difficult, and lots of people are at the moment, let's face it, today's life is a bit of a challenge. There's so many pressures on finance, with the cost of living, Christ, and everything gone up. She went and bought a cauliflower the other day, just a small cauliflower, £1.30. Fuel, look at fuel. I mean, they're very, very quick to put the price up. Notice how slow they are to put it down? Have you noticed how slow they are to put the price down? However, shall we, look, there you go. Another scene. So, if you are out there, give us a thumbs up. If you don't want to put a comment in the chat. So what am I doing? Well, I'm just enjoying life. I mean, as difficult it is sometimes, I mean, with the cost of living and all the rest of it, I mean, our pension doesn't stretch too far nowadays. And I've still got another year and a couple of months to wait for my state pension. And then they're going to reduce it. I've paid in 44 years into my state pension. They reckon you have to pay in 35 years to get a full pension. Nah, they're lying to you. They are lying. My pension's expected to be, instead of the £184, it's going to be 161, I think, or 172. Not quite sure which. Somewhere about that figure. They're going to mug me off. Talking about mugging off, here's my mug. Yeah. So I was checking on it. You can go online. You do know you can go onto gov.uk and look at your pension, and it tells you all your contributions over the years. How much? It doesn't tell you how much you paid in, but it tells you you've had full years of paying national insurance contributions. Now, you'd have thought that national insurance will be set aside for that sort of... No, they're talking about taking away the triple lock. And if they do that, then you probably ain't going to see a pension one day. They'll sort of just mug it off. No, you don't get a pension. You don't get a state pension. And it's funny. You know, when I planned for my retirement, I took a conscious decision about, I don't know, 35, 40 years ago, that I wanted to retire early. I didn't want to go working myself to death. So I set up at the time you could have a stakeholder pension and opt out of SERPs, as it was then. So I did all that, and I paid extra in. I was paying about £500 a month into my stakeholder pension, and that has come to what's name, and I get that at the moment, and I get my army pension as well, and I can just about scrape by on that. Just, I mean, it's some months is a bit more difficult than others. Some months I have to dip into the old savings, and it don't pay to have savings nowadays. Well, not much anyway, because get this, I've worked all my life, right up to the age of 60. Never had any time out of work, paid my stamp and all the rest of it. When I came out of the army, I went to the old job centre. The only thing that they said that I was entitled to claim was job seekers allowance. When I came out of the army, if I hadn't been leaving when I did, I'd have been leaving. They would have medical discharged me. So, yeah, that's the only thing I was entitled to. And I wasn't in a fit state to work. I was like a broken man when I left the army. I ain't much better now. Truth be told, I'm underneath this gorgeous exterior. There's an absolute train wreck going on. Who knew? So there you go. That's where we are. But I've got some things I'm looking forward to this year. Really am looking forward to some stuff this year. I've got, we just bought a new tent. We're going to go camping, do a bit of camping this year. Well, sort of glamping. Because we've got a dog now. And all the hotels are taken up. You can't get a hotel for love nor money. So we thought we'd go and do a little bit of camping. Because we ain't got a boat no more. Because I was struggling, I'm proper struggling at getting on and off the boat. And we took a conscious decision that rather than have a boat that was sat there that we couldn't use, we sold it. I spent it last year, every week, I went for something called massage therapy. And I could barely move. I was seized up. My body had seized. During lockdown was a nightmare for me. Couldn't do an awful lot. And my body seized up. All my muscles sort of, all the tendons sort of went hard, solid. I had no flexibility in my body. And I had this wonderful lady been pummeling me for the last year and managed to sort of free up. I mean, now I can do that with my head, whereas before it was like that as the best I could do. So it's freed up a lot. So we've taken a conscious decision that we've bought a tent and we're going to go and do a little bit of camping this year. Then I've got a trip away with the regiment. I'm going off on a battlefield tour to Holland and Germany. We're going to follow some of sort of 30 Corps and the Lincolns, Norfolks and Suffolks. What they did in that part of Operation Market Garden. And we're looking at the garden aspect of it. as the market. So then I got come back from that. Then I got a couple of days in London at a show. I'm off to what I call a podcast show, and that's up at Islington in the London Business Centre. And I think I'm going to be helping out on the Podmatch stall. Yeah, so Podmatch are the guys that find me all my wonderful guests. If you've not seen any of my Ordinary People's Extraordinary Stories, you can dive into there. And there's I've just recorded 155 as video as well as audio, so you can watch who I've done. And then there's another, I think there's another 40 odd before that were just audio. So they're available on all the audio apps, all the podcast apps. They're on YouTube, so dive in, fill your boots. Don't forget to put a comment on. Once you've listened to somebody, watched them, stick a comment on. It's nice to get a little bit of feedback. And I've grown, I think, over the years of interviewing people. So I'm enjoying that. I've done a couple of 3 this week. They're coming out in the next few weeks. So I'm just going once a week now, just on a Sunday, with the Ordinary People's Extraordinary Stories, because I kind of almost got burnt out. I did so many last year, so many, and I was doing sort of 3 or 4 or 5 a week, and you'll be surprised how much time and effort it takes to do the editing and uploading and all the rest of it. So yeah, I kind of got a bit frazzled at the back end of the year, so I just took a little break over Christmas and that, and now I push one out a week. I do the live quiz on the Tuesday, obviously, and I do the everyday conversations, and then occasionally I'll jump on and I'll do one of these. Just one out of the blue because I can. Besides that, somebody's loving me. Thank you for the love. I do like love. And so that's where we are. Oh, and then in June, I'm going off on a motorbike. I've got 3 days at a festival, the Adventure Bike Riders Festival up in Ragley Hall in Warwickshire. I went last year for the first time, and yeah, I just wondered how I'd get on, but I got on all right, so I'm doing it again. There's also there's Ride to the Wall in October. I'm going to have a bash at that again. Going to leave from here this time, going up to Peterborough and then going from there. I think I'm going to join the guys down this end of the world and do it from here this year, which should be good fun. And we're only 10 days away from the big breakfast, which I've organised, and the regiment's paying for. So if you're a Royal Anglian and you're in the Gosport, Portsmouth, Southampton, Solent area, and you haven't booked into a big breakfast yet, ping us a message and I'll get you on the list, and come along to our big breakfast in the, we're having it at Hornet, so it'll be a good breakfast. So there you go. That's me. Well, that's a quick live. That's a quick live because I can. So what's on the next screen? Got something on the next screen. Oh, there you go. So I did put up a couple of Dewberry Botsits before we got going, just asking. So if you do fancy coming on tomorrow's show, ping us a message and I'll ping you the link and you can come on, and we'll talk about something. Well, it'll be to do with mental health, obviously. But there you go. That is, I think that. So Thanks for the love heart, much appreciated, and that's it. I'm going to pull the pin on this one. Thanks again, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.